uses mathematical symbols and
it's
geometrical symbols.
Yeah.
And then so we get information this way, so here's a little, if you understand what your brain can do and how it works, you get extra stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That, oh yeah, it'd be nice if someone would have given us an operator's manual. And, instead of having to puzzle it out as we go along by pushing buttons and seeing what happens. Well, some of them turn the car off, and some of them cause radios to appear, but, you're not quite sure what's happening with it. But in this instance, it was a staggering bit of insight that when I came across this, it's like I had just come from reading David Sarita's book on differentials and how they appear to be the source or the key to the free energy business. And I use basically differential calculus through predicate calculus in doing my predictive work, because I don't look at static words. I look at the way words change over time in the differentials in the lexicon. So it was very familiar territory. And then to discover the spinning crop circles, it's like, oh, hey, wait a second. This would be really cool. And then it suddenly dawned on me when I saw a couple of them. Hey, if they'd only spin it counterclockwise and raise the level of revolution up at least twice what they've got, that object would be not only appearing, it would appear to be solid, and there would be something on the surface of it. Because I'm used to looking at revolving images, because I use my Vortex program since 1994, and my reading speed is about 1,500 words a minute. So 3 times that, 4,500 words per minute in on the old monitors here, which you could reach in directly to. The limitation is the new monitors and the intrusion of their own little operating system that gets between you and the actual hardware. So I don't know what our rate of spin could actually be on the new monitoring system, but nonetheless, I think we'd get up to where we would get the idea. And it may be that, for instance, that once we've got this presented to us, we'll find that people are able to start decoding and reading these symbols.
That is just so fabulous. Now, in your circle of geniuses and near geniuses,
no,
you don't have any
nut job crews that I hang out with, yeah.
So,
job.
So, do you have any possible programmers to do this?
I just came up with it 15 minutes ago. So I don't know yet. I'm going to throw the idea out there and let's get us a Linux style thing going here, and I'll chat with a few people. It's a question of who has the time to get at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we may have a couple I can think of now that do
we have
work.
an
might be
absolute expert on spin and how the universe works, but he's not a programmer.
Yeah, we're going to need somebody. The programming is actually pretty straightforward, because basically you just take a JPEG image. If it was presented as 2, that would be the little slightly difficult part, to get one to rotate one direction and maintain their reference points, but relatively trivial for talented programmers. I just don't have the time, because for me it'd probably take a month to get geared up, and then we'd have to have a bunch of sample images. So we also need to get hold of the crop circle people. Now, I do have contacts to the German side of the crop circle phenomenon through the corncrease.com people, and so I'll propose it to them. But we kind of need to just start spreading the word. Hey guys, here's a really nifty idea, and here's how we all can learn to read Space Alien.
Yeah, who would go, oh, I don't think so.
And it's so trivial for a programmer. So you're a kid, you got nothing better to do, make it a class project, get it done in a month, and prove us wrong.
All right, listeners, spread the word, because this could be what a ride.
Hey, if you want a real ride, get this. Buried within some of the crop circles now, as part of their 3-dimensional images that are presented, are the images of the Hunab Ku and the Tai Chi symbol, the Supreme Ultimate symbol, in 3 dimensions, rotating counter rotating forces.
Okay, what was that first one? I'm not familiar
with. The Hunab Ku?
Yes.
You've never seen this?
Well, I don't know. I might have seen it, but it wasn't introduced.
Hunab Ku is the Mayan version of the complexity diagram that is the Tai Chi diagram from Asia. Okay, the Tai Chi diagram actually represents this huge level of complexity, but at a very fundamental level, it represents the instant of transition between Wu Chi and Tai Chi. Wu Chi being formless, Tai Chi being formed. It represents the creation of duality, the black and white embedded symbols, right? Mayans had their own version. not only did they have their own version, which they called the Hunab Ku, 2 words, Hunab space Ku, in case you want to go look it up and see the symbol, because it'll start getting you really interested in how these things work. Not only did they have that symbol, but it was attached to the Dark Rift versus the Center of the Galaxy business in 2012.
Whew.
Okay.
Well, you just, all right.
Okay.
We'll take a break right now, so the brain can kind of.
Yeah, we're sure the listeners need one at this point.
Sorry about that, guys. I have a tendency to do these brain dumps.
It's awesome.
It's wonderful.
Wow. No sorry there. It is absolutely fabulous. Fabulous Clif on Beyond the Ordinary. Take a break.
We are with the very Beyond the Ordinary Clif, and we're speechless, so just continue.
Well, do you think we're done with that then? Done with the crop circle thing, and hopefully somebody out there will produce a program and distribute it in the public domain, and off we go?
Yeah, unless you have anything to add, this is so beyond fascinating.
Yeah, it's a brand new idea, so we'll just let it percolate and see if the universe wants to give it some support and go on to something else here.
All right.
I think it will come at you like a magnet.
I'm sorry?
I think it will come at you like a magnet.
I hope so. It's a staggering idea. Of course it makes sense that anybody going to the trouble to communicate to us this way will do so in such a way that they embed layer upon layer upon layer of information, so that as you become more sophisticated, you can read more of their symbologies.
Yeah.
It just makes tremendous sense. And the fact that we know that there's a register key in the sense of a rising three-dimensional or not a three-dimensional shape, not necessarily geometric. It's like, well, hey, what else is embedded in there? Let's start playing around and find out.
It's got that self-protection bit built in where you're only going to get what you can because that's at the level you're at.
Yeah, and let's also take a couple of diversions here and warn everybody right up front. I ran into this issue when I was doing Vortex, and that is people that have certain kinds of brain injury, including epilepsy, can be triggered by flashing lights. So let's make sure that we have warnings on there that, if you're prone to any kind of brain seizures at all, don't be doing this. Don't be watching these spinning shapes. Now, that having been said, let's also point out that it is that same effect that makes this stuff so very powerful. Because potentially, if I'm right, at some point, illumination in the sense of being able to transmit vast quantities of data will probably come in through some form of pulsed information system. So, because we know that certain components of the Enlightenment experience, I don't want to get into that too much, that are achieved through meditation are done so by choosing the counterclockwise versus the clockwise rotation. We know that how very powerful that is. And it's possible that there may actually be mind-altering capabilities or potential within some of these spinning crop circles. So they could be self-protecting in a sense, in that they might make you nauseous if you're not prepared to accept that kind of information coming on in, or they may fry your brain. I have no way of knowing at this stage.
Or they may cure epilepsy.
They might. Who knows? I wouldn't want to take that as a risk, though, if I were an epileptic.
No, well, depends.
Yeah, we'll have to see what is presented when we actually are able to do this with some effectiveness and some control. Because now we just have these crude video images that, no matter how well they are loaded, they're at certain angles and so on, that they present the image in a fuzzy way. We're going to get a much more clearly defined image if we can do this through software on individual machines with static JPEGs from a local drive.
So you still need contacts of people maybe in the U.S. or Europe that
people that are
have
involved
photographs with crop circles?
Correct. Those people that are involved with the seriologists and those people that are involved with crop circles, if we could just have them make a point of taking photos in such a way that those could be reduced into grayscale, that'll simplify the whole process for us. And then we'll have some other part of the planet program out the software that will take these JPEGs and start rotating them in interesting and unique ways under human control.
Okay.
And we can drive ourselves into hyperspace with this stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, this is, in a way, it shouldn't be surprising to people, because look at what music does to certain pieces of music, the effects they have on the plates, with sand.
Sure, the cymatics, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's also understand that dictators use music to, get the troops all whipped up to go and stand there and get shot.
That's right.
So, it's a very powerful tool, and it's one of the reasons I'm not particularly inclined to listen to music, is because it interferes with my meditation. I don't need to have my mood altered. I'm trying to eliminate and refine all of that in order to get at the core of this particular meditative process.
Yes. But that is a visual aspect which people can relate then to this. If some force, like music waves, can create symbols and geometric shapes, etc., then it's not a far step to accept that everything you've said is a total reality.
Well, it's certainly provable. If we can get the software to spin this stuff and take these snapshots of crop circles and spin them and all we get is a reference code, well, then I was wrong. However, I'm of the opinion that it's an issue of the speed of rotation for the individual mind that's going to be a key element.
Okay.
Very cool. That's probably why you were doing that stuff back in 1993.
May well have been. Who knows? Well, that brings up another interesting little linguistic experiment, if you want to take a diversion. Now, did we ever discuss the idea of sending messages back to yourself in the past?
No.
Okay, here's this idea that because humans are essentially electromagnetic and other radiation antennas, including to our own thought processes, it may be possible that we can perform a radical linguistics experiment that everybody could do and get results on their own, some people more than others. I think of humans as being spread across the range of psychic ability, to where some people are psychic, they just don't know it and could care less, and they go about their business, and it's never part of the process of their lives, all the way up to those people who live their lives deep and broiled in the psychic morass that is universe. And in between, we've got a large mass that, I read my horoscope, and occasionally I get a psychic flash, that kind of thing. But it is not really necessarily a consistent part of their day. But what if, because we are vibrating antennas that are walking around, especially for our own thoughts, what if we started making a consistent effort to do a daily practice? And it needn't involve more than a few seconds every day. Say that the first point, just pick a time just so that you're consistent, because discipline is part of the process. And say you wanted to do it at 8 in the morning and you woke up at 7. Well, that's fine. And you choose 8 in the morning. So 8 in the morning, you sit down and close your eyes for a half a second, and you send yourself a message. And what you're doing is you're going to send a message to yourself of 1 year ago on that particular day. So today is March 31st. You'd say, okay, on March 31st of last year, now let me think, what was I doing that day? Oh, yeah, that's right. I had this really cool thought about